Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in to the virtual Talladega Superspeedway for the return of Ron Morris Racing's Tuesday Night Thunder. You're watching live here on PGR eSports. My name is Dawson Wise, and I'll be bringing you through all of the action for tonight's opener of season number 5. It's finally time for another season of Tuesday Night Thunder. I can't wait. I know you all are ready as well. We'll be flying solo this evening. As Austin is out tonight, but he hopefully will be back next week to join me in the booth as your regular broadcast team again here for Tuesday nights. I know we're both looking forward to this series. He is very disappointed that he can't be here tonight, but I'll carry you through all the action anyway. As 60 laps are on tap tonight at Talladega as we figure out who's going to reign supreme as the Season 5 Tuesday Night Thunder champion. The Season 4 champ is back. That's Garrett Maines tonight in the 28 on the timing and scoring. I believe he'll be in the 1. On the side of the race car. We'll keep an eye on that. The Xfinity Series cars are back for season number 5. It's going to be a similar setup to last season in terms of fuel, in terms of fast repairs, and all of that. We'll go through all the race details here and the format for this season again right before we get going, but it's very similar to season number 4. No fast repair tonight. That's one of the biggest differences from some of our other weekly racing that we see. It's fixed setup. 40% fuel. There are 3 sets of tires available to these drivers. Again, a 60-lap event. I believe that there will be a stage break at the conclusion of lap 20 that is customary, dating back to about season 2 of this series, and will be in play again this season. Stage points on the line: 5 to first, 4 to second, 3 to third, 2 to fourth, and 1 to fifth. And then from there, here is how you make the playoffs. Yes, there are playoffs. There are 12 regular season races this season. Number 1, you have to make 9 of them. If you miss more than 3, you are ineligible for the playoffs. If you win a race and you make 9 or more of the regular season races, you are locked into the playoffs. You can also make it in on points, but you still have to run 9 or more races. But you can make it in on points. We'll see 16 drivers make the playoffs. We'll cut from 16 to 8 to 4 to crown our champion later on in the season. So a win gets you in, but points, a big deal as well. We'll get to payouts a little bit later on in the night also. But in the meantime, it's time to get down on the grid. It's time to finally meet the starting field for Season 5 of Ron Morris Racing's Tuesday Night Thunder as we get underway from the Talladega Superspeedway. And with that being said, we will head down to the grid here in just a moment. As again, you're going to see 60 laps flash on the screen, and we are ready to go. On the pole for race number 1 of this series, of this season, is going to be BAR's Justin Mills in the 4 machine with a time of 54.395 seconds. He'll capture pole position tonight. To his outside, the reigning champ, Garrett Maines, the driver for the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Again, the 28 timing and scoring, the 1 on the side of the car tonight. He'll start from the outside of row number 1. Row 2, it'll be PGR eSports owner Michael Triscaro in the 34, a Final 4 driver from a season ago, and Kenny McCullough Jr., the boss man at McCullough Motorsports. Row 3, PGR's J.R. Miller will line up 5th. To his outside will be Trevor Osbornoff representing KSR in the Jack Shack tonight in the 89. Row 4, another Jack Shack entry, the Hyperice Toyota Supra of Joe Huerta. And to his outside, it'll be the number 04 of Matt Lee for Nightmare Esports. Row number 5, and rounding out the top 10 will be the 62 for One Stop Motorsports of Landon Velicky. And the McCullough Motorsports number 59 of Mark Von Dell. Row 6, it'll be Richard Elliott in the 02 for BAR. And the man who was the most dominant a season ago, sporting a brand new paint job tonight. We'll get to that in a moment. That is Matthew Baker in the 5 machine for NBG. Row 7 will be Evan Carlbahn in the 71 and Christopher Carter in the 25. Row 8, One Stop's Jared Haynes in the 7, and PGR's Brock Westmoreland, who has found himself a ton of momentum over the past several weeks. He'll start from 16th. Row 9, another Final 4 driver from a season ago. It's Jeff Merck in the 60 for NBG, and Jackson Holbrook of Nightmare Esports will start to his outside in the 18th position. Rounding at the top 20, Mike Davenport, a former Little Guy Series champ and PGR winner in the 55. He'll start 19th. And Ethan Eckert makes his return to Money Racing tonight in the 12 machine. He'll roll from 20th. Row 11, Mark Math in the 199 will roll from 21st. Chase Mastretta, the Nightmare Esports driver, will roll from 22nd. Row 12, Garrett Caswell makes his Tuesday Night Thunder Series debut in 23rd, with Jonathan Herbert to his outside in the 24th position. Row 13 to be Larry McDonald in the number 80 machine, with Mitch Regattas to his outside in the 9. Row 14, Dylan Jones in the all-white number 11 is going to roll from 27th. Josh McCullough from McCullough Motorsports, he'll roll from 28th. Row 15, we'll see Chris McCullough for McCullough Motorsports in the 04, and Brian Bassard in the 27 machine. He'll roll from 30th. Final roll in the field tonight, Joey Galati in the 661, Jimmy Emos in the 67. 32 cars have made up a massive field here tonight for the opener of Tuesday Night Thunder, and I'm so glad you are joining me for all the action. We'll have you for every lap of every race of this entire 5th season, and I'm so excited to get this one underway. Again, 32 cars. This is one of the biggest fields that this series has seen over the past 4 seasons or so, and tonight, boy, this is going to be a good one. Everybody's on edge. How do these guys attack the first 8 to 10 laps of this race? We're going to find out. I imagine they'll keep it pretty calm, much like they did in the SummerSlam 499. As the field gets bunched up, you see guys warming their tires. They're antsy. Oh, well, we are going to have the yellow extended here. We've had an incident on the opening lap. So we'll go an extra pace lap. Lights back on atop the iRacing.com pace car. And kind of similar to that start of the SummerSlam 499, if you watched with us a couple weeks back. This is kind of similar to that, in that these pace laps, if you're in the cockpit, they feel longer. The more they are, the more preparation, the more anticipation, the more you're not going full bore, the more you're not pedaled down to the floor, racing, kind of locked in, the longer these pace laps feel, and that's what these drivers are going to feel for another 2.66-mile trip around this great oval. As we get ready to bring you, again, all of the action. Track temperature is going to be a very important factor tonight. If you look over there on the right side of your screen, 134 degrees the track temperature tonight at Green Flag. It is a boiling pot of water essentially on top of this racetrack. The engines will be tough to cool. The tires will get worn, and as we saw throughout race weekend for the SummerSlam 499, that will present a major handling issue, mainly in that second portion of the race. Again, I believe a stage break at the conclusion of lap number 20 will bring a halting to the proceedings, but past that, there's a potential for a 40-lap green flag run where these guys really aren't going to be taking 4 tires. We saw it in the SummerSlam 499. These pit stops with only 40% fuel are not going to be long enough to afford to take any tires. They'll probably take left side tires, which you'll see most of these guys do on their routine pit stops. But 4 tires not really going to be an option unless you take it really on the stage break here at the conclusion of lap number 20. Half a lap till we go green. Mills and Maines will bring you to the green flag in just a moment. Again, an incident on the opening pace lap, and the field has tried to get reset, but everybody is, I think, ready to go. We've had some cars miss the grid. Mark Math has critical damage to his car on pit road. This is a very odd situation ongoing for Mark Math, and we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. A couple guys have already called it a night. Looks as if a few have missed the grid. A few have called it a night. We'll get to that a little bit later in tonight's broadcast. But we have business to attend to first. Season 4 saw some of the most intense racing that we could have asked for as race fans, as broadcasters, as fellow promoters, as fans. But now, wipe the slate clean. Last season is last season. That was then. This is now, as the saying goes. It's a fresh new season of Tuesday Night Superspeedway racing, and you're here catching all the action on PGR eSports. For the first time in Season 5, the pace car takes the hard left turn to pit road and leaves the field in the hands of BAR's Justin Mills. Through the trial for the first time, the field works into the Geico restart zone, and it's time to get down to business. Green flag, we're racing in Season 5 of Tuesday Night Thunder. Just as they did in the SummerSlam 499, the field works its way across the start-finish line 2x2 and all clean and green so far. To the lead on lap 1, it's the reigning Season 4 defending champion. It is Garrett Maines, and Kenny McCullough aggressive early to his outside. In behind him, a new look this season for Trevor Osbornoff for the Jack Shack. A teal, deep teal and red look appears to be on the number 89 machine. So a new look for him, a new look for Matthew Baker as well back there in the 5. A silver, black, and neon yellow, almost like a Volt yellow aboard that number 5 machine this season. So a new look for him as well. About 6th in line, and behind Mark Vondell back there around Brock Westmoreland as well. Maines and McCullough continue to battle side by side. Baker's the first to look to the outside, and no surprise, 7-time winner in Season 4, Matthew Baker, but he doesn't draw a crowd just yet. Nobody else bites. Baker was the first to look. Now Jeff Merck, his NBG teammate, takes a look. No cigar, back in line. Again, no surprise that those two of the Final 4 drivers, would be the first to look to the outside. Not the stellar qualifying effort we're used to out of either of those cars. Those cars got a little bit of a slow start out of the blocks in qualifying, and now have to work their way up through the field, which with this track temperature, you've got to make it quick or you're going to be going to the back. The temperatures are going to run out. Almost in trouble further back. Back here at the tail end of the field around Garrett Caswell's machine. It was Caswell and Mitch Regatas, I believe, that got together. Larry McDonald may have been in the middle of that as well, but everybody keeps it okay and minds their P's and Q's again through the tri-oval. Lap 3 complete. Garrett Maines still on the point, but McCullough may have gypped him for that lap at the line. He did not give it to Garrett Maines. NBG cars to the outside. Baker, Merck, Westmoreland takes a look, but he doesn't have any help. Those two NBG cars are trying to go. They just can't get anybody to commit with them. Now they will. PGR's JR Miller. Now Nightmare's Matt Lee, but he went a little bit too late. He's going to have to fade back in line. It's Miller, that red, white, and blue Ford Mustang with the gold numbers and gold wheels on the outside that leads that third lane. 3 cars deep, and one of the best pushers in the business is in behind the 78. That's Matthew Baker, again, a 7-time winner last season. Looking to go 1 for 1 in Season 5. Off turn number 4, Miller, big run to the outside. He's broken the top 5. Now inside the top 3. He'll be elbow to elbow to elbow. 3 wide with the leaders as they cross the start-finish line. JR Miller rockets to the point. A winner from last season. Gets his way back to the lead. Thought about clearing on Garrett Maines, but was not quite fast enough. Maines to the bottom now. Across the bumper of Justin Mills. McCullough continues to lead the middle with Osbornoff, Lee, and Merck in tow as Merck drops in. Baker may drop in right in front of him. And JR Miller now unfortunately goes from half a car length in the lead to going backwards the wrong way, although Matthew Baker notably cuts him a bit of a break. 4 rows deep on the outside. That allows Joe Huerta to jump up. 2 rows behind his Jack Shack teammate of Trevor Osbornoff. Brock Westmoreland again fades to the outside, but just not much he can do back there around Jonathan Herbert and Chase Mastretta. Mastretta, another driver making his debut tonight in Tuesday Night Thunder. Several drivers making their Tuesday Night Thunder debuts tonight in this race. Again, 32 took the grid. Now, we have had a few that have ended their nights. Christopher Carter, Mark Math, Joey Galati appear to be those cars. We'll check on them in a moment. Joe Huerta for the Jack Shack to the outside. He leads that third lane out. Baker, Mark go with him, and again they will try, just as they did with JR Miller a moment ago. Matt Lee, that was tight, right on the nose of Huerta, and all of a sudden that middle lane loses all of its momentum and energy. Matt Lee to the outside, a massive surge for the Blenders. Martin Sports Ford Mustang. He may go to the lead, but Huerta's trying to peak, maybe 4 wide. Maines up, Lee down. Lee to the point, goes all the way to the bottom, and now it's Huerta again, but now Matt Lee, a bit of a sitting duck, about a half car length in front of the whole field. Now we'll back up to the bumper of Garrett Maines. Smartly moves back up to the middle and controls that lane. And now Huerta, Baker, and Merck's job just got a little bit tougher. Miller joins the line. Help coming further back in the form of Chris McCullough. And I believe that might have been Brock Westmoreland. It was. And across the line, you see Baker peeking for air. Lap 7 on the board. 14 laps to go in stage 154 to go in the race. Lee clips the apron coming back down. Triscaro and Mills slip up a little bit, but everybody gets through it okay. Mills starting to push really hard on corner exit, and that's going to invite what we like to call the bumper hook. The patented B-car bumper hook is what we like to call it, and unfortunately, it's going to be a factor tonight and this entire season, at least until iRacing decides to update that. For now, though, no fix. And it's still an issue. Maines middle to bottom. He controls the field again. The MCU body Ford Mustang now looks in his mirror and sees 6 rows of 3 wide racing behind him as the field stacks its way up. Davenport McCullough jumped back down, so make that 4. Well, make it 5. Chris McCullough, I think, is going to fade a little bit further back. Kenny McCullough right at the right quarter panel of Maines. Huerta at the right quarter panel of McCullough. 7 laps complete. It's fast and furious here early at Talladega. Finally an opportunity to take somewhat of a breath, even though it's really still not very calm. Huerta is trying to side draft his way to the front with that line up top. They just, I think, have run out of temperatures. Matthew Baker is trying everything he can, but that the bottom and middle lanes did such a great job defending that really there's just not much you can do if you're that top lane except just rebound, try to cool off, try to get a little bit of temp, and go back to the front. And unfortunately, not really going to work for them right now. They're still caught about a car length back of the front row. But they are, props to them, they are very vigilant. They're trying it again. Huerta down to side draft, getting a little bit tighter on the door of Kenny McCullough. And here's another surge. 3 deep pushing are the top lane. Huerta leads by half a car length. He might get it here in front of Kenny McCullough and move the Jack Shack entry to the lead. The Hyper Ice Super leads his first lap here of season number 5. Bit of a fresh look, I believe, on his machine as well. Main's bottom to middle, so we'll have to hold that thought for a moment as the number 1 jumps back out around Huerta. Huerta now will follow the graces of Matt Lee and Justin Mills on the inside, but Maines, can he get back to the bumper of Huerta? He can't. Quick move, middle to bottom, going into turn number 3, and will drop back into the lead position. But Huerta gained himself a bunch of track position and a lot of race control, being up at the front of this field right now by just waiting, just being patient, letting the line move forward, and trusting the process. It's exactly what Huerta did right there, and it got him all the way to the front. Now is going to get him a look at the lead. Matt Lee, again, one of the best in the business, is second in line on the inside and gives Huerta a lap lead for the first time in Tuesday Night Thunder Season 5. That third lane still hanging about 3 rows deep in the field, 2 rows deep every now and then. They're kind of fading in between those 2 lines. But not much else can be done from that top lane. They're really running low on temperatures now. And we are approaching halfway into stage number 1. I want to take a moment while things calm down for a second. Thank you everybody out in chat already. Nice audience here on a Tuesday night. Like, share, hit the subscribe. We're going to bring in oh man, Jeff Merck. Did he just pop the motor? I think Jeff Merck just popped the motor. He did. Jeff Merck has expired the engine aboard the number 60 machine, and an early end to his night here on lap 10. No fast repair tonight. Means he'll nurse it to the pit box. He'll be able to come back out later and help his teammates, but his contention for the win is over. Jeff Merck blows up on lap number 10, pushing Matthew Baker in the outside line, and NBG loses one of its 3 cars in the field tonight. A tough early break for Jeff Merck, but his 2 teammates, Triscaro and Baker, are going to try to rebound here and hopefully not endure the same fate up in the outside line of the racetrack as Kenny McCullough will jump out there. So the first move to the outside for the 0-3 machine. He'll jump out from around Garrett Maines. Triscaro pushes him now. Meanwhile, that allows Huerta to get all the way up into the middle in front of Garrett Maines and Lee to finally get some cool air on the bottom aboard that Ford Mustang. It's been several laps since he was able to feel some cool air, head into the radiator of that machine. As lap 11 is complete, 9 laps to go, stage number 1. Huerta may go middle to bottom here. You'd expect it here into 1. He will park on the nose of Garrett Maines, though, and remain on the front bumper as McCullough, Triscaro, and Baker continue to try to work that outside line. This lead pack extends back to Brock Westermelin in 25th. Mitch Regatas, Joey Galati, Chris Carter, and others have lost the draft of the lead pack. We're going to be 4 wide for a moment, but they will handle it no issue at all. Might have been the Joey Galati machine that I saw go a lap down, and it was. So Galati will hold the lead pack. And going back to that issue on pit road as these guys start to single out. So we did have Mark Math come in the chat. Mark Math, we saw him with critical damage on pit road early in this race, and unfortunately it's going to end his night before it could even get started. Apparently a technical failure by someone either in front of or behind him in the starting grid caused an accident on the opening lap, on the opening pace lap of tonight's race, and eliminated at least the 199, if not, I believe also I thought it would have eliminated the Christopher Carter machine, but something happened technically around Mark Math that caused a failure, and unfortunately Mark Math's night comes to an end before it could even get started. Huerta bottom to middle. That was a seasoned move. Joe Huerta. How about that from the one car? He's all of a sudden the man in control here at the front of the field as he moved up from Matt Lee to Garrett Maines. McCullough, Triscaro are trying everything they can to hold on that outside line, but it's not working. They're going to have to dive in line in behind Matthew Baker here and just kind of accept the fact they're going to probably have to pit on this first pit stop without being able to get all the way to the lead. They're going to have to just settle right outside the top 10, and that's exactly what they will begin to do. Triscaro in behind Baker. McCullough will file behind Triscaro. Actually, he'll file in front of him. Oh, trouble. Justin Mills gets hit by Landon Veliky. Mills off to the apron. He'll make the save, but he comes back up. That was a really big moment there for the field. Good on Jared Haynes and Brian Bessard and Jonathan Herbert and others there to get around him. No issue there somehow, and Mills may keep the draft. He may not. Brock Westmoreland's coming to pit road. Back here around the 25th position. He'll be the first to hit pit road on this first potential cycle on lap 15. Maines leads lap 14 at the line. It's 6 laps to go in stage number 1. Again, 60 laps the scheduled distance tonight. The completion of lap 20 will be our stage break. Our only break of the night will take place on lap 20. Down the Alabama Gang super stretch, almost a quarter of the way through this one already. The field is running blistering fast laps inside of 51 seconds right now. And to give you an idea of exactly how fast that is, well, we'll do it after the pit stop because here comes the entire field. Everyone is pitting here on lap number 15. Trouble! J.R. Miller spins. He collects Joe Huerta in the pit lane. The one goes sideways. They all try to avoid him. Mike Davenport, the front end, blown off of the PGR entry. Now Kenny McCullough gets turned. He's going to get in the grass off pit road, off the bumper of Chase Mastretta, and disaster on the entry to pit road on the first green flag stop of the season. And it all started when J.R. Miller locked up the rear tires coming to pit road and got into Joe Huerta, sending him, just blindly spinning right in front of the entire field, and has caused a major stack up in the running order and a massive problem potentially for the 1, the 78, the 55, and the 03. We'll keep tabs on it, but the saving grace for those 4 race cars, a stage break in 5 laps. Now, Davenport has some damage. He'll have to try to nurse it to the stage break, but I think he only got the hit on the front end, so we'll wait and see. On the 55, the 1, the 78, and the 03, but disaster for those 4 cars on pit road. Jackson Holbrook actually led the group off pit road. He is 7.5 seconds. Well, I think he did. He may have to come back. Yeah, he's coming this time. Dylan Jones was still left on the track as well. Trevor Osmanoff is the man that got out really well. And unfortunately for him, he's going to be freight trained past. And this has completely split this lead pack into several discernible groups. The lead group's going to be about 9 cars deep, maybe 11 by the time Jared Haynes gets back around. That's back to the 11th position. And then from there, Chase Mastretta, Evan Carlbon on back are going to be logged close to a lap down. Not sure what happened to Garrett Maines either. He's 45 seconds. He might go a lap down here. Garrett Maines is at serious risk of going a lap down. Joe Huerta, Kenny McCullough, Mike Davenport already caught a lap down. But we don't expect them to get their wave around because everyone likely will pit again at the stage break. So 3 laps to go in the stage when they get to the line. Osmanoff hops high, Lee hops back low. Chris McCullough's going to look high on Ethan Eckert, riding 3rd in line to this group. J.R. Miller will go a first lap down here as they pass by turn number 1. Baker on the nose of McCullough. It's Matthew Baker for the race lead. Again, 3 laps to go we anticipate here in stage number 1. Baker, Triscaro, the NBG teammates side by side. The pushers are McCullough and Eckert, with Veliky, Osmanoff, Lee, and Josh McCullough. And then from there, it's only going to be those 9 cars because Elliott and Haynes got caught in no man's land, and they're not going to be able to catch this group, of 8 cars, not 9. Really quickly, with 2 laps to go in stage number 1, I had a couple questions about Jeff Merck. He blew his engine on lap 10. He is attempting to get back on the racetrack. He's still on pit road. He'll be many laps down, but he will try to attempt to help his teammates later in the stages of this race. So he is on pit road, but he blew his engine back on lap 10. And unfortunately, his contention for the win tonight is over, but the position his teammates are in right now, he will be back out to help them here momentarily. Baker back up. He's on the bumper of McCullough. 8 cars will decide 5 stage spots here in stage number 1, and they're staring down the barrel of lapping Garrett Maines. And if they were to lap Maines and Jimmy Emos, and Emos were to stay in front of Garrett Maines all the way to the stage break, it would mean that Garrett Maines would get caught 1 lap down, and that would put several heavy hitters in this field a lap down. And they are coming up and coming up fast. 1 lap to go we anticipate here in stage 1. Triscaro bottom, Baker top. Landon Veliky and Trevor Oswernoth will currently battle for the last stage point back there in the 5th and 6th positions. Maines has gone a lap down. So has Jimmy Emos. Maines, this would be the move he would make, and that would be to drop all the way down and try to just stay in front of Jimmy Emos all the way home here to the stage break, and he should get his lap back here when we get around to it. Emos drops in, though. Jimmy Emos, will he contest Garrett Maines for the free pass? Meanwhile, Baker, oh man, contact. Oswernoth's going to turn sideways. Trevor Oswernoth out of the groove and into the outside wall. The 89, is he going to spin it? No, he's going to save it. Oh my goodness, Trevor Oswernoth, how did he keep from wrecking a ton of race cars right there? We'll go back up front. It's non-contested here for the stage win. Guess who? Matthew Baker at the line will lead lap 20. Caution flag is out. Stage 1 is complete. Wow. All right. So an action-packed ending to stage number 1. Let's go back. Take a look at the stage end. We might try to go look at the pit road incident. But do want to watch this Trevor Oswernoth moment. Look at this. A little bit of hit from Josh McCullough, then gets it sideways off Ethan Eckert. He's trying to make this save and then pancakes the outside wall. It's actually a harder hit than I had initially anticipated. He pancakes the outside wall, but does make the save. Let's go back to the pit stop that saw the entire field come down pit road, and I kind of want to just break this down really quickly while we have a second. So the whole field's coming to pit road. Watch J.R. Miller in the 78. He's back here. We're focused on Garrett Maines because I want to see what happened to him as well. Oh, Maines, a lockup that I didn't see. I was too focused on Miller spinning. Garrett Maines completely boots pit entry. You see Miller, he gets into Huerta back there about 3 cars deep, but Maines goes far enough off track that that's a penalty for unsafe pit entry or speeding. It could have been either one. You see Huerta, he gets turned sideways on the pit lane. Then he, oh wow, is actually going to get clobbered by Mike Davenport. And then McCullough in the process of trying to stop once gets hit by Mastretta. Then he's going to try to slow up again, and Mastretta, as McCullough comes to a stop, Mastretta right through the right rear quarter panel. Absolute chaos on the pit lane on our first cycle. But that explains exactly what happened on those race cars. So, some explanation. Everybody comes to pit road here on lap 21, and the caution flag has flown here for the first time for our stage break. Ooh, catch your breath. That was fun. A lot of everything there in stage number 1. Again, still over half this race remains, as Michael Triscaro will lead the group off pit road. It'll be Landon Veliky actually. Well, Landon Veliky actually leads the group off pit road. So the driver for One Stop Motorsports will inherit the race lead, and you notice up in front of the leader that there are a few cars. Well, Garrett Caswell's on pit road. My apologies. You'll notice in front of the leaders, 2 cars ready to get their laps back. That is J.R. Miller and Joey Galati. Caswell, apologies to him, he's still on the lead lap. So Garrett Maines gets the lucky dog under that caution flag. The cars that will still be caught 1 lap down are going to be Joe Huerta. Christopher Carter is also a lap down. Mike Davenport is multiple laps down in 30th. Jeff Merck is multiple laps down in 31st. And again, Mark Math failed to make the grid. Well, he made the grid and then unfortunately was involved in an incident on the pace lap before we could get going. So 22 laps will be complete. We'll get the... Well, Galati will actually come to pit road to see if Miller will as well. So both those cars coming to pit lane, and that will seed the wave around opportunity. And several cars going to come back down pit road. Everyone from Richard Elliott on back, with the exception of Jonathan Herbert and Jackson Holbrook, will bring their machines to pit road. Actually, I believe a couple of others are going to keep their cars on the speedway. Justin Mills is going to stay out. As you see here, Trevor Oswornoth, his teammate Joe Huerta. So they try to get back out on the speedway as well. Lights are out atop the pace car, and that means it's time to get going for our second and final stage of tonight's event. Landon Veliky won the race off pit road. He will lead the field back to the green flag with 37 laps to go. Michael Triscaro will flank him to his outside. Row 2, Chris McCullough, Jared Haynes. Row 3, Kenny McCullough, Brock Westmoreland. Row 4, Chase Mastretta, Jonathan Herbert. Row 5, Jackson Holbrook. And it'll actually be Justin Mills that restarts 10th. You see Jimmy Emos, he is a lap down. 22 cars remain on the lead lap back to Trevor Oswornoth, the final car currently listed on the lead lap. Jimmy Emos is 1 lap down. Mitch Regatas, Joey Galati, J.R. Miller, Garrett Caswell are the cars, I believe, that are 1 lap down. Joe Huerta as well. I believe Christopher Carter in 29th is the first car 2 laps down. But only 22 cars remain on the lead lap. So we see a lot of guys fighting for the lucky dog. Wave around, trying to work pit strategy here. We anticipate 2 pit stops in this final stage. If that first one was any indication, it'll be very close to making it on 1. We'll see what kind of fuel saving these guys can do. Veliky, Triscaro bring the field back into the restart zone. We'll get back underway on lap 24. Field roars back to life under the green flag here on lap 24, and it's a good start, maybe too good a start for Landon Veliky. He'll be a car length and a half off the nose of Christopher McCullough. Outside lane gets pretty much formed up immediately. That is Michael Triscaro, Jared Haynes, and Brock Westmoreland. And they will surge to the outside, and for the first time in Season 5, the Prime Chevrolet of Michael Triscaro leads the field down the Alabama Gang Superstretch and is on the point for the first time this season. He's got Jared Haynes behind him. Haynes got to be careful here for Triscaro because, yep, that is Haynes' teammate leading the bottom for One Stop Motorsports. But Triscaro smartly to the bumper of Landon Veliky, and now Triscaro controls the flow of the race. Field is packed back up. Again, we saw that late pit cycle in Stage 1. A very disorganized start here to Stage number 2. A lot of cars along the bottom, only 4. On the outside of the racetrack right now in the lead group, Dylan Jones leads a contingent of cars on the outside back there towards the tail end of this group, as Jared Haynes leads a lap for the first time, and he'll drop to the inside and to the point. Westmoreland now with Herbert and Holbrook, but not for long. Michael Triscaro turns up the aggression. The temperature level starting to raise here at the front of the field. It's Triscaro back around the outside. He'll lead by half a car length halfway down the backstretch past the Chevrolet ads and the Yellowwood ads here down into turn number 3. It's Triscaro back to the bottom and Westmoreland to his right elbow. Off turn 4, Westmoreland goes back to the race lead. But they'll trade it here throughout the travel. For the back, Matthew Baker, Matt Lee, J.R. Miller, and Garrett Maines were forming a line in the third lane, trying to come forward, and they're going to have a monster run when they get back to this group here at the front. Westmoreland, oh man, has to make a big save there in front of his team owner, Michael Triscaro, but a big moment there for Westmoreland. He hangs onto the race car. Triscaro topside. Holbrook with a split to the middle. Almost disaster here at the front of the field, and that third line's coming. Are they going to think about 4? Here comes Garrett Maines. Where do they go? They push. Ooh, I'm surprised they had to move some mountains there to get that to work, but Herbert now leads the outside, really not by choice, more by the fact that Garrett Maines wanted to, but now they're going to split him. Herbert to the outside, not comfortable in that position. Maines to the inside of him, 4 wide for a moment in turn 4. That third line goes back to the lap-down car of Christopher Carter. The 3 lead lap cars are Maines, Baker, and Lee. Maines from 17th to the lead in a lap and a half. To the outside of Triscaro, elbow to elbow to elbow, 3 wide, 34 laps to go at the line. Maines back to the middle as Triscaro drops to the bottom. So the MCU Body Mustang back to the race lead on lap 27 after a short period of being caught a lap down and then having to race back through the field. Matthew Baker, Matt Lee, former teammates on the outside pushing nose to tail. Christopher Carter trying to get his lap back the hard way. J.R. Miller jumps out there, and one other car was with him. Can't quite tell who that car was. Might be Larry McDonald. It is Larry McDonald. Oh, man, Matt Lee. Big time out of the groove in 3 and 4. He'll have to catch it. Trying to drop back on the bumper of Matthew Baker. And the handling issues I talked about earlier are starting to manifest themselves on lap 27 for guys that decided not to take tires on that cycle of pit stops. Had a question about Matthew Baker on pit road. No, he did not receive a penalty under green or under caution. Under green, had a really good stop, finished, I believe, second, or actually won the stage. Under yellow, opted to pit twice. He was one of the cars that pit 2 times under the caution flag and was one of the cars that I believe took 4 tires on the stop as well. So that's why Matthew Baker was back around 20th when we restarted this race. But clearly, it does not take last season's most dominant driver very long to get back to the front of the field as he is now outside of Jackson Holbrook, leading the 3rd lane. Maines is working lanes here at the front. Holbrook is the leader out in the middle. Triscaro lead pusher on the bottom. McCullough lead pusher into the middle. Baker fades in 3rd in line behind McCullough in front of Mills. Lee will fade in behind him now. Behind Baker, and Carter may fade right behind the 0-4 of Matt Lee if he doesn't stay up against the outside safer barrier. At the line, new leader at Talladega. It's Jackson Holbrook this time by with the help of Chris McCullough, but not for long. Maines back at the bottom. Garrett Maines, bottom to middle. Triscaro, some cold air into the radiator now on the exit of turn number 2. And Westmoreland to his back bumper to assist him. Back to 2x2. P's and Q's being minded here down the back straightaway here for really the first time in about 20 or so laps. Triscaro, your top 2. Westmoreland, Holbrook, 3rd and 4th. Jared Haynes, the last car in the top 5. And an update to one of the cars involved in the pit road incident back under green on lap 16. Mike Davenport for Team PGR has unfortunately had to take that car behind the wall here on lap 30 as the damage was too much to overcome for the 55 machine. He is also now bowed out of race number 1 of Season 5, so another driver that has a win in this car recently is now out on lap 30. Maines to the bottom. Holbrook doing a very good job right now of capitalizing on the track position he gained in the green flag pit cycle. Outside, it's the former set of teammates again. Baker, Lee, Chris Carter coming for help. J.R. Miller is kind of hesitating for a moment. Trying to think if he wants to help or hang in line. There may be some damage aboard that 78 as well, but inevitably he jumps out to help, and so does Carter, and that is going to really hinder the energy in that middle lane with Jackson Holbrook and Chris McCullough. Will Maines get clear first, or will Baker push his way to the lead? Drag race. Who's going to be able to make the first move into 1? Holbrook's trying to side draft, trying to keep himself as the leader of the line, but it won't be enough. Maines will get clear. He will jump up, and he will block that move. Now, how much of a push do they have? Is it enough to get Matthew Baker all the way to the race lead? Triscaro now pokes free on the bottom with the help of Westmoreland and Haynes, but it will not be enough defense. Matthew Baker, big power moving, goes right to the middle, big flick of the wrist there at the end of the backstretch, and actually will go top to bottom now on the nose of his teammate Michael Triscaro and all the way to the lead. So again, a new look for Matthew Baker. You see the brand new, again, it's like a Actually, really a dark gray, silver, and basically that Volt yellow color aboard that car for this season. And he now battles for the lead with Garrett Maines in the 1. Holbrook and Triscaro lead pushers. Chris McCullough, Brock Westmoreland doing well, as well as Matt Lee and Jared Haynes. Landon Velicki hangs tough just inside the top 10. So too does Justin Mills after his early save. We saw him have to bottle that car off the racetrack. He caught it and made a nice recovery and is currently running back in the 10th position. Off turn 4, Maines, Baker still side by side, and things have kind of toned down while they have, and again, I'm probably going to get cut off while I'm saying this, payouts tonight in this first race of the season. A little bit different, more payouts here tonight. We had 32 on track, so these will actually scale up a little bit as well. The winner tonight receives $142, second $103, $97 to third, $85 to fourth, $80 to fifth, and $63 to sixth. Again, $142 to first, $103 to second, $97 to third, $85 to fourth, $80 to fifth, and $63 to sixth. So a little bit bigger payout this season than last season, and that might explain why the racing has felt a lot more antsy tonight than it was really most of last season, until the championship, obviously, where the playoff points came into effect, where you had to kind of be a little bit different aggression level if you were one of those 16, then 8, then 4. But tonight, no playoff drivers, just a win on the line to make it in, and look at how hard these guys have been racing each other. And yet still, with the exception of the stage break, no cautions for incidents so far in tonight's race. 27 laps to go. We anticipate that the first of 2 pit stops would happen somewhere around lap 40. That's in about 6 laps from now. We went green with 37 to go. We expect pit stops around lap 40 with 21 laps to go if the field follows the same pattern as the opening pit stop. So about 6 laps until that. Until then, they'll continue to race, and it's Jackson Holbrook, a member of Nightmare eSports. It goes to the point here off turn number 4. On the bumper of Garrett Maines, and for the first time, he will lead laps here in Tuesday Night Thunder. His first career laps led in the series, being pushed by 3 of the members of the Final 4, and directly pushed by the champ. Joe Huerta, unfortunately, goes a second lap down. That one car does not appear to be up to speed right now, so he will try to fade in line. Oh, man, Holbrook, he's washing a little bit, and it allows Baker to kind of jump out of line there from behind Garrett Maines and get on the bumper of Chris McCullough. Baker will now look to the elbow of Jackson Holbrook, and back to the point will go the 5 machine here into the entry of turn number 3. He will not quite get clear. He got awfully close. He may still get it here in the middle of the corner. Not quite. He'll remain where he's at, and they'll battle side by side again off turn number 4. Into the tri-oval, still Holbrook inside, Baker outside, then Maines, McCullough, Triscaro, Lee, Oswornoth, Westmoreland, Mistretta, and Haynes. Baker now will get top to bottom, although he's hanging for a moment, letting the run come back to him, and as it does get to him on the end of the back straightaway, Baker now pushed by Holbrook. It's Carter, the lap machine, pushing McCullough in the outside lane. Again, the field down the Alabama Gang Super Stretch. 4 laps until our target pit lap here tonight for our first of what we believe to be 2 green flag pit stops in this second stage. One about lap 40, one would be about lap 56, which would be right with 5 laps to go, and that does not create a lot of wiggle room here for the race-winning move. You got to be perfect on these 2 pit stops if you want to be in contention for the race win. Oswornoth, nice recovery for the 89. He saw him get out of shape late in stage 1, pancake the outside wall. He's back up into the 7th position and now 3rd on the outside in front of Dylan Jones. Nice recovery again. We saw Maines have the pit road issue. Oswornoth had the issue late in stage number 1. Chase Mistretta had an issue on pit road. He was involved in that incident that happened on the early part of that pit cycle. Justin Mills, we talked about his recovery. Same for Kenny McCullough, who runs back in 16th. He was able to continue on and remain in this race as well. We think there's 4 laps to go till the pit stop. We imagine, well, actually 3 now, With 21 to go, we should see the majority of the field back on pit road. We may see a couple here in a couple of laps with 22 to go if last cycle strategy is accurate. So we await that second to last pit stop. We'll see if anybody does try to stretch it and make it on 1, and if they can, that's a race-changing decision. You would have to make it, assuming 37 laps is the final run, you'd have to make it 19. So you'd have to make it about 5 laps from right now to be able to make it all the way on 1 pit stop. Let's see if anybody tries it. They got to make it 5 more times around everybody else, I anticipate, on pit road here with 2 laps, in 2 laps time, with 21 laps to go on lap number 40. You saw Osmernoth, he got out of line, and he's gone all the way towards the tail end of this group. And, well, I was completely wrong, and right as I flash back here, trouble! Around goes Jonathan Herbert, and the caution flag will fly. Herbert is around, and several cars scramble into the grass, including Garrett Maines in the 1 and others. And just like that, the caution flag is out for an incident for the first time tonight on lap 38. So, actually, I think it's Carter that's the first car that gets out of shape. And it is going to be Chris Carter up ahead. Oh, you see it there on the left side of your screen. He tries to get up in front of Justin Mills. And Mills tries to adjust. Unfortunately, cannot get to the back of Carter. Sends him spinning. Miller, it's nothing J.R. Miller can do. He gets clobbered. And Carter, that shoots him right back to his right. And as Herbert tries to miss him, Herbert turns Mills. Then Herbert's going to get turned here by, well, really netcode, but Joey Galati gets into him. You see Mills go around. Chase Mastretta hits him. Carter trying to scramble out of the way of Herbert. And then you see his guys start to bail. Look at these guys try to bail. Garrett Maines, he bails off pit road, goes through the grass, and just misses the commitment cone. Matthew Baker, Michael Triscaro, and others were already on pit road, so not much they could do there. And I'm kind of curious, we'll go to an overhead view here, but I'm kind of curious if for Garrett Maines, this was less of an issue of not wanting to be on pit road when the caution came out, and more of an issue of I don't think he was going to make pit road. I think it was going to be similar to the initial incident on pit road where he completely booted pit entry. Let's see. As you watch Mills get turned by the 87, and the 87 gets turned by the 661, and it is just a complete melee, a free-for-all. You see Mills get hit by Mastretta, and then watch Garrett Maines. Well, no, he's down to speed. But he locks it down right at the last second. I'm not sure. It's very odd for Garrett Maines, but nonetheless, he completely stays up on the speedway. Take one more look at this. You see up ahead, Carter gets turned by Mills, and now watch the absolute melee that ensues as guys try to miss each other and get caught up in the mess. First caution for an incident with 21 laps to go, as pit stops were just underway on pit road, and unfortunately, or fortunately, in the case of these guys that had stayed out and the guys that had decided to opt to kind of drive past pit road, well, I thought it was going to benefit them. It's actually not going to benefit Garrett Maines, as he'll be locked back in 15th. The guys that stayed out for the most part are going to benefit off of this. Appears there's some kind of penalty for Jared Haynes. He'll drop to the back of the field and relinquish the lead to Dylan Jones. So Jones now leads. Lee is second. Christopher McCullough is third. Kenny McCullough is fourth. Evan Carlbon is fifth. Josh McCullough is sixth. Richard Elliott seventh. Jared Haynes, I thought was going to be in eighth. He's not in eighth. It's actually Ethan Eckert back in eighth. Jackson Holbrook is actually going to come to pit road, so Jared Haynes will settle in ninth. Eckert will come to pit road as well, so Haynes will be eighth. Well, now they shuffle a bit again. Larry McDonald will be eighth. Jared Haynes will be 9th. No. Garrett Maines will be 9th. Matthew Baker, I believe, will be 10th. As Haynes continues to work on, I believe, serving a penalty. Lights are out atop the pace car. 1 to go signal has been given to the drivers. Again, Jones-Lee on row 1, and then the McCullough duo of Chris and Kenny McCullough on row 2. Carl Bond McCullough on row 3. That's Josh McCullough back there in 6th. Richard Elliott, Larry McDonald on row 4. Garrett Maines and Jared Haynes on row 5. Well, there's some lap cars mixed in as well. Mark Mondell is not on the lead lap. Neither is Joey Galati. Those 2 cars at the tail end of the lead lap. They are not lead lap cars. Yeah, on that incident, looked like Carter tried to fill the gap in front of Justin Mills. I'm not sure Justin had enough time to react and got in the back of him, and then they got away from that okay, and it kept it going, and then Jonathan Herbert got in the back of Justin Mills and turned him sideways, and that's what triggered the incident with those 2 and Chris Carter and a couple of others. So Carter tried to fill the gap. Everything was A-okay. They kind of just got into each other, and then it was on from there as Herbert not able to lift, got into the back of Justin Mills, and the melee was on from there. The fuel mileage just became a factor. 19 laps to go at the green flag, and we anticipate about 16 laps to a tank. And now you start to kind of clutch the car maybe a little bit. You kind of really back off the throttle. You're really max saving here. If you get one more caution, I think you can make it to the end of this race without pitting again. It's going to be very, very close. We do have 3 green-white checkered attempts available to us tonight should we need them in the case of a late caution. But 19 laps to go, a long way to determine if we'll need those attempts. Dylan Jones, Matt Lee, into the restart zone, 19 laps to go. It is officially crunch time in race 1 of Tuesday Night Thunder, Season 5. Green flag is back in the air, and off they go towards turn number 1. Great start on the outside for Matt Lee, but better organization on the bottom behind Dylan Jones. Chris McCullough, Evan Carlbon, Richard Elliott, Garrett Maines all got a really good race start, and it rockets the all-white Ford Mustang to the point here on the exit of turn number 2. Matt Lee trying to hang on his right elbow, trying to hang alongside him, and he will do just that. He'll get a push from Kenny McCullough, and Matt Lee battles back on the outside of the racetrack. Further back, does anybody try 3 wide? You best believe they do. That's Matthew Baker. That's Michael Triscaro. The lap machine, their teammate of Jeff Merck, has rejoined the field, and he helps push. And Jackson Holbrook does as well as that group starts to go forward. Jones and Lee off turn number 4. Again, Baker, Triscaro, Merck, Holbrook trying to make things happen in the outside, but Baker's going to get left behind unless Triscaro jumps in line. Hasn't done it yet. Now he will. 18 laps to go. Again, blistering lap times. Best lap time in this race is the man leading it right now, Dylan Jones, a 49.96. 49 is virtually unheard of in this car. And now we have an opportunity. We'll show you exactly how fast that is. At the end of the back straightaway, look at Matt Lee. 192. Kenny McCullough, 192. These guys are flying at the end of the back straightaway. And as such, they're running blistering fast lap times. Huerta jumps out. He's going to bring Matthew Baker with him. Baker, Triscaro, Holbrook, Merck, and J.R. Miller, a big, long third line. And that's how you know it's go time. 17 laps to go. The lap machine of Huerta, he's 5 laps down, but he's racing nonetheless. He's working as a helper here for Matthew Baker and Michael Triscaro and company as they work their way to the front of the field. Oh, one car really out of shape in the middle of the racetrack. That was Joey Galati. Maines now leads the outside line. He jumps out in front of Joe Huerta. Matt Lee to the point on the bottom. Now to the middle in front of Kenny McCullough. Dylan Jones now not much help behind him other than Chris McCullough. Their help behind him has evaporated. Outside starting to move. Lee going to side draft up here on the left rear quarter panel of Maines, trying to keep that line backwards. No cigar. Garrett Maines, the champ, goes back to the point with 16 laps to go. Garrett Maines once again leads Huerta, again, is 5 laps down. That doesn't mean he can't race with the leaders, but he is 5 laps down. His spot is insequential, but the car in that line, the energy he's producing, is essential to those guys on the outside and their hopes of getting back to the front of the field. They're going to need, I think, one more car to jump out there, and they'll really start to get a run. Man, Joey Galati is really struggling about 5 rows deep with the handling of that race car. He's able to keep it on tap for now, but it's really starting to struggle. Oh boy, Galati way out of shape, right around Jared Haynes. Oh man, that's going to really stack the field up. Galati still going to hang in the middle of the pack, and that is a dangerous position back there. 4 wide. Mistretta, big split back around the 15th position, and for a moment the field is 4 by 4, but they solve it in a moment's notice. Chase Mistretta, the aggression level is up. The go button has been pressed for the 8 machine, the Budweiser Chevrolet, as he attempts to work his way forward. Meanwhile, Garrett Maines is now back to controlling lanes up in the front of the field, in front of Matt Lee and Dylan Jones. The NBG cars, Matthew Baker and company, are back around the 12th position. 11th and 12th for Triscaro and Baker right now, and they have some helpers around them when they do decide to reload and go again. Again, we do not anticipate that these guys can make the end of the race on fuel, and there's not many guys on the racetrack right now that are saving. Maybe guys back there on Ethan Eckert, Landon Velicki, Jackson Holbrook, Brock Westmoreland, they'd be the only guys on track that would be saving. NBG to the outside, not for long. Oh, but McDonald's going to slip in. That gives those NBG cars a free spot, and now they're in a really interesting position here. 4th on the outside. They can do a lot from here in terms of getting 3 wide. It's just one more row you don't have to pass. Still 2 by 2. Heading back towards turn number 3. Lee way up the track, trying to avoid that side draft. Not enough to get him clear. And Maines will drive back to the lead. And there they go again. NBG to the outside. Do they bring Huerta with them? They do. Chris McCullough gets some contact, I believe, from Josh McCullough. He's going to have to bring it back up, but he doesn't have really a safe place to do it. Still, no one has let him back up on the speedway. He may have to force it here in front of Jonathan Herbert, but he will stay down instead. On the outside, it's the big run from the 3rd lane. Matthew Baker and Michael Triscaro have worked their way all the way back to the front. They now lead at Talladega. They'll go all the way to the bottom, and Triscaro will stay up on the nose of Garrett Maines. Big move right there for those NBG cars. I mean, that is massive to get that track position. Merck and Huerta, the lap cars, trying to stay up. Oh, man, they just could not clear down. And Garrett Maines regains control of the race by that move. He's going to be able to go down and up here on the bumper of Michael Triscaro. And just like that, Garrett Maines is back in control. That's how effortless it is for the defending champ. But now he'll have to duel with the man who won 7 races a season ago and knows how to get to victory lane. And a few guys behind him that are going to be very, very unlikely to work with him when the time comes down to it. Into turn 1. Maines to the bottom. 12 laps to go at Talladega. We expect that final pit stop would be somewhere around 5 to 6 laps to go. Do some guys back around? Again, Ethan Eckert, Brock Westmoreland, Landon Velicki, do those guys try to save, or are they just going to sell out and try to go for it? And just pit when everybody else does and hope it sticks. We'll see. Off turn number 4 again. Maines bottom to top in front of Michael Triscaro, doing a good job right now of controlling lanes. But again, when it gets down to crunch time, when it really gets down to it, especially if they do have to make a pit stop after that, it's every man for himself. You have to win to get into the playoffs. Well, you don't have to, but if you want to lock in, you have to win. And that first win really sets the tone for your season and guarantees, as long as you make 9 races, that you are in the playoffs at the end of the season. It's a really great mindset changer here. Again, a tone setter for your entire season if you win race number 1. Still Maines, Triscaro, Lee, Mistretta on the outside, inside, Baker, Jones, Josh McCullough, Kenny McCullough. Off of turn number 4. You'll see the scoreboard up in your top left. Tick from 11 down to 10 laps to go Just under 30 miles remain at Talladega, potentially with a pit stop to boot. Oh, Triscaro had to back out. He had to save a little bit of temp. Matthew Baker, that's going to allow him, it should, to get up on the bumper of Garrett Maines and allow Triscaro now an opportunity to cool off, and same with Dylan Jones. Down the Alabama Gang Super Stretch once again. 19 cars on the lead lap. 18 are in this lead draft. Back to Brian Boussard. The final car on the inside of this lead draft. Everybody else a lap or more down. Baker back to the point. We'll tick to single digits this time by, and now the countdown begins. When do you come to pit road? Do you have to come to pit road? The questions begin right now. We expect in about 4 laps time that will be the case. 9 laps to go in race number 1. Coming up on a lap car. I think it is the 9 of Mitch Regatas. We'll see when they get down to the back straightaway here. It is... Yes, it is the 9 of Mitch Regatas. He will get out of the way and cede that position to the leaders. 3 laps from now, we anticipate the final green flag pit stop of the night. But the question now remains, have some of those guys further back, and they saved enough? Maybe not to make the end, but to make that last pit stop even more of just a splash and go. That crucial 2 seconds on pit road, even a 1/10 of a second, could be the difference between running 10th and winning tonight's race. Oh, some handling issues further back around Evan Carlbahn and Jackson Holbrook, but everybody for now holds it together inside of 8 laps to go. Again, in just over 2 laps is your target lap for the leaders, although on that first run they did run it a little bit short, so let's see if they do the same. The pit tracker is on. They're not certainly racing like they have to make a pit stop, but as they come off turn 4, we'll get another opportunity. Does anybody come to pit road with 8 laps to go to make their final pit stop? No. Everybody stays on the racetrack. Baker leads, Maines second. Still, for the most part, everybody safe to sit in 2x2 rush hour traffic at 192 miles an hour. Baker, big gap back to Garrett Maines. He's giving it a second. He might just hang on the bottom at this point, this close to this last pit stop. And he will. No move to the outside yet for Matthew Baker. Maines, as such, will go back to the lead. He will be clear easily. Let's see if Triscaro gets it as well. Not quite. And actually, the push comes through at the last second, and Maines is caught on the outside. Okay, another time by turn 4. Does anybody come to pit road with 7 laps to go? No. Everybody stays on the speedway for yet another trip around the 2.66 mile oval. It will be 6 laps to go, and we now anticipate these guys' tanks are starting to run towards that big E that you see on your gas tank. We're getting close to that range right about now. 6 laps to go. Still 2x2 for everybody here in this lead draft. About 10, 11, 12 rows deep. 18 cars make it. Yes, only 18 now in the lead draft. Again, back to Brian Boussard. Several lap cars, though, are in this group, including Joey Galati, including Jimmy Emos. I believe J.R. Miller as well. Mark Vondell, Joe Huerta, Chris Carter. Several cars, and now pit stops right on target. 6 laps to go, and the pit stops are underway. It's back around Kenny McCullough and Josh McCullough. What a save by Josh McCullough on pit road. Those 2 pit. I believe that's the only 2 lead lap cars that came to pit road. Jimmy Emos, Mark Mondell, Chris Carter also pit with 6 laps to go. All right, windows open. Your final pit stop of the evening is now underway. And if you're the leaders, you're in pretty much panic mode now. If you're one of the lead lap cars, excuse me. The lap cars, really nothing to lose here if you don't make the pit entry, because you're not really racing for anything at this point. Here come guys starting to bail. Do they bail from the second line? 5 laps to go. They're going to bail off the speedway. It's going to be most of the lead pack. Can everybody get on? 4 and 5 wide further back. Does everybody get it down? Holbrook is around. Jackson Holbrook and Chase Mastretta go sideways. They're off the speedway. Matt Lee, Evan Carlbon also get off the pit road. And a problem again on the pit lane as Jackson Holbrook got around. Everybody else looks like made it down to their pit box A-OK. 2 cars opted to stay on the speedway. Ethan Eckert and Brock Westmoreland tonight working as PGR teammates opted to stay out at least one more lap, and with 4 laps to go, it looks like a repeat. Remember, we saw J.R. Miller and Nash Brambilla try this last season at Daytona. Now, are these guys just staying on an extra lap, or are they going to try to stretch it to the end? Off turn 4, they will pit right now, so they will not repeat the mistake of their teammates. Oh, boy, both are awfully quick right at the pit lane. That was awfully close. Off pit road, Dylan Jones leads, and I think this group may be a 5-car breakaway. I'm not sure Richard Elliott and company caught this group. Well, they might have. They got bridge cars. J.R. Miller and Joe Huerta are keeping them in this. They are going to hold on. So, wow, okay, the 2 bridge cars really help. Matt Lee waiting on some help from the McCullough cars, and they will latch on. Some notable cars that will not be with this draft. Evan Carlbon, Jonathan Herbert, Ryan Bissard, Jackson Holbrook, Chase Mastretta, Trevor Oswernoth will all not be with this draft. Eckert, Westmoreland off pit road. They're trying to pedal it here on the exit on the apron. I think they may have just caught the leaders, and if that's the case, what a pit stop by the 12 and the 16. Unreal. They're not going to lead the race. They're going to get blown by, but they've given themselves a chance. Eckert and Westmoreland, that is the pit stop of the night. They're going to have to try to latch on. They're almost up to speed on the exit of turn number 4. When we get back, it will be 2 laps to go. Who makes the first bonsai move to try to win this race? It's Baker to the inside of Dylan Jones. Matthew Baker top to bottom, just like he did last season 7 different times. Matthew Baker to the point with 2 laps to go, but not for long. He has no help on the inside. Triscaro drops out, so does Garrett Maines. Ethan Eckert's still in this as well, 3rd on the outside. If they get back to the white flag, this race will be official. We'll race it out, and we will decide a winner. On to the backstretch for the penultimate time. Does anybody have anything for these cars up front? Does anybody try 3 wide? Veliky jumps out. His teammate will probably, well, I thought he was going to go with him. He waits. Now he jumps out there at the end of the back straightaway. Jones, Maines, double file for the potential race win. Maines getting a healthy push from Matthew Baker. Maines to the outside. No help on the bottom for the NBG teammates. Off turn number 4, the flagman has the white flag in hand. They're 1,000 feet from the line. They're 1,000 feet from deciding a winner this time. Caution flag is out. 1,000 feet short of the start-finish line. Oh. And that, as they say, changes everything. Well, it was not in the lead pack. The caution flag comes from somewhere else on the speedway. I think it's going to come from this group. Let's see. Oh, wow, right there. Evan Carlbon gets in the back of the 27 of Brian Boussard, turns him sideways. And Jackson Holbrook is the other car. And that is what brings out the caution flag with 2 laps to go. 500 feet short of the white flag. And, well, look, we mentioned it back on SummerSlam 499 weekend. It was mentioned several times. Also watch one more view of it here. We mentioned several times over the course of SummerSlam weekend that race control... Oh, wow. Evan Carlbon, my apologies. No contact from the 71. Boussard got up in the corner and went to set the car like we talked about last weekend and got out of shape. And it got him sideways in front of the field. And again, as we talked about back on SummerSlam weekend, if you joined us for those races, the prelims, the LCQ, the feature, Race control, a very quick hit of the button. It's just a hit of a button. Again, you might hit it mid-incident. It might clear itself up by the time you have your hand off the button. But unfortunately, by the time you press the button, the caution flag is out, the caution lights are on, the field is slowing down, and by then it's too late to revert your decision. So a quick trigger, and again, not a big deal. Again, we had a car almost completely all the way around. And those cars, I mean, they were going to be caught by the leaders eventually on that last lap. I mean, they were over in turns 3 and 4, so those cars had stayed sitting. And the field had come up on them, the leaders had come up on them. It affects the end of the race. I get it. It's a quick button. An unfortunate quick button. We were literally 500 feet from the start-finish line, but nonetheless, caution flag is out again. So nothing Evan Carlbahn did there. Again, my apologies to Evan Carlbahn. It was not any contact. It was not net code. It was Broussard getting loose, and it was the same thing we saw all weekend long last weekend. The track is hot. The tires are old. The tires are hot. And as you try to correct, if you don't hit your entry, if you don't preset that car on the banking, you're going to get out of shape trying to turn that wheel back to the left, trying to react to missing your entry point. You're going to turn back to the left, you're going to lose the race car, and it's going to slide it sideways, and that's what happened to Brian Broussard right there. So the caution flag is out for the third time. Now you beg the question again. Remember, these leaders came to pit road with 3 laps to go. Really 4 laps to go for most of the leaders. They took a splash of gas, most of them. A splash enough to get you to the end of the race and no more. Maybe 1 overtime attempt. And look now, 2 MBG cars, 2 OSM cars on the apron saving fuel. Some cars, including Ethan Eckert, Brock Westmoreland, a couple of others, came to pit road to top off. And if we get another caution, that may be the race-winning call. We will line them up, we'll rack them, and we will stack them, and we will try this in an overtime finish. Garrett Maines leads the field. Matthew Baker to his outside, the 2 best pound-for-pound drivers in Season 4. Lineup 1-2. Row 2, Chris McCullough in the 94, also a winner last season. Michael Triscaro, a winner last season, and one of the Final 4, and a teammate to the 5 car. Row 3 is a couple of, not really wild cards, but go with me. Richard Elliott in the 0-2 for, 0-0 actually for BAR, and the 62 for OSM of Landon Velicki. Row 4, Jared Haynes of OSM, and Matt Lee of Nightmare eSports, the 0-4, also a race winner from a season ago. Row 5, Josh and Kenny McCullough, both aiming for big wins. Kenny, a winner last season. Josh has yet to win in this series. And then the rest of the cars on the lead lap are as follows. Dylan Jones in 11th, Jonathan Herbert in 12th, Brock Westmoreland 13th, Ethan Eckert 14th, Evan Carlbahn 15th, Chase Mistretta 16th, Jackson Holbrook is 17th, Trevor Oswornoth is 18th, Brian Broussard is 19th, and J.R. Miller is back on the lead lap in 20th. 20 cars, and they all realistically have a chance to win here. In typical superspeedway fashion, we were not going to be able to leave the facility tonight without a late race start. This type of racing thrives on these kinds of finishes. It hangs its hat on excitement at the end of a race. And it's exactly what we're going to get again tonight. Pace car is down. 1 of 3 overtime attempts coming up. Do the leaders have enough fuel to make it back? Is there still some chaos in this field of 30 plus? Who gets to victory lane in race number 1? Into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. Overtime is underway. And off they go towards the banking. Maines, good start on the bottom and a good push. He'll almost get clear of Baker. Top side a little bit more disorganized. Maines will get clear. Now the question will be, oh man. Caution flag is out. Right as we get back going. And J.R. Miller, I believe, is going to be the cause of this one. And what happened here? So we got the green flag. And Miller, whoa, what in the world? What in the world? What did we just witness? I'm not even sure. I'm struggling to even pick a camera angle to look at here because what in the world was this? Watch JR Miller here. He drives up behind the 34 or the 27 of Broussard, and as he goes to dive to his inside, it's like he hits a red shell in Mario Kart in the middle of the racetrack. He shotguns back off the Broussard machine and goes around. What in the world just happened? I mean, JR Miller, this is the tough break of all tough breaks. Let's watch it back from the chase camera. Look at this. Actually, we'll watch it from Brian Broussard. Look at this. Watch JR Miller. What in the world? It's like he had a car that wasn't there. And I torpedoed the engine. I believe that car just completely shut off. I mean, it... Oh, wow. He goes right to the pit lane. But what in the world? And now, where's the field? Here's the field. Not sure what happened there. So, well, we do like to see firsts here on Tuesday Night Thunder, and, well, that was another one. As I cannot even explain what we just witnessed there with 2 laps to go. I was initially frustrated at the fact we made it about 100 feet before the caution flag came out again, and now I'm more bewildered at what we just saw. And yeah, right quick, we do not have the lights to go 1 to go yet. And let's go to an onboard with JR Miller here, because I've never in my life. We'll see what happens. Behind Brian Broussard. Field goes green, and watch and listen to JR Miller. Oh! I mean, you could tell by the way his hands moved in the car that it jolted him mostly. I mean, it was mostly a shock. Wow. That is unbelievable. Yeah, you can't help but laugh a little bit. I know, you know, we like to keep it serious, but you can't help but at least laugh a little at just how insane that is. I mean, just, wow. Wow. So, I mean, that's a really tough way for JR Miller. And he had just gotten back on the lead lap, and now his race is over. He's sitting on pit road all because of an issue that literally you have no control over. That is incredible. And JR's in chat. JR, I agree. I've never in my life seen anything like that. And what a tough way for your night to end. I mean, wow. Well, we'll try to reset here with 2 laps to go. And now the leaders, I mean, they're in very dire straits fuel-wise. Now that call by Eckert and Westmoreland and others to come down pit road is looking very, very positive. What is going on back around the 10th position? We have about a 6-second gap between our leaders and the rest of the field. What is going on back here? Now the whole field's out of whack. This race has had everything. This race has had absolutely everything. Wrecks, pit stops, pit road mishaps, incredible, unthinkable iRacing moments, iRacing anomalies, fuel strategy, fuel mileage, late restarts. This race has had everything. So again, a tough break for JR Miller, but I mean, nothing he could have done there. And his race is over. All right, resetting the field again for you here. Garrett Maines, Matthew Baker on row 1 again. It's Chris McCullough and Michael Triscaro on row 2 again. Richard Elliott, Landon Velicki. Really, the entire top 10 is the same. So, again, Maines, Baker, McCullough, Triscaro, Elliott, Velicki, Haynes, Lee, and then Josh and Kenny McCullough on row 5. So, again, NBG teammates are now lined up. They're in the best position of anybody here. And they also get a mulligan on the restart because they did not get going on the last attempt. So basically a freebie here. You've gotten a second life. You've got to get a better start. You don't really want to put yourself in the position where you have to start splitting 3 wide. It opens up the bottom for Chris McCullough and Richard Elliott and Jared Haynes and company to pounce and potentially win this race. You really want to get a good start, be even with the 1 car, and be surging to the lead off turn 2. If you're Matthew Baker, you want to get in front of Garrett Maines and have Triscaro to his right elbow and box him in. That's exactly what they're going to try to do. Do the leaders have enough fuel back to about 12th? We're not really sure. Overtime attempt, number 2 here in PGR eSports overtime. Green flag is back in the air. 2 laps to go at Talladega. And it's another incredible start, a better start than last time for Garrett Maines, but this time Triscaro is locked on the back bumper quicker than Matthew Baker, and they will try to box him down in traffic. Baker to the door. Maines will get clear. Now the question is, does he move? He does. Baker, this is just where you take a moment, you push, you stay in line, and just hold just for a second here. Get Maines back clear halfway to the backstretch. 1 around. Jackson Holbrook. He's around the back straightaway. No caution yet. Still green. Half a lap from the white flag. McCullough was able to hang alongside Garrett Maines, and now McCullough will battle to the inside. Richard Elliott is the pusher down there. Does he have anything for the leaders here? Does anybody look 3 wide? I'm looking back around Landon Velicki, Matt Lee, Josh McCullough, Ethan Eckert. I'm looking around that group to go 3 wide here. When do they make the move? Now. Landon Velicki to the outside for One Stop Motorsports. He's going to take a look for the lead. White flag. 1 lap to go in Tuesday Night Thunder. 1 car clear to the bottom. 2 cars clear to the bottom. Does Baker take it? He's trying to stay in the middle. He'll have to turn left. Down the banking goes Matthew Baker. The scramble has allowed Velicki to get to a winning position potentially. Matt Lee, one of the best pushers in the business, on his back bumper. Down the Alabama Gang Super Stretch. 1, 2 cars around to the back. Never mind. Landon Velicki to the outside. Can the underdog take race 1? Baker on the inside. Maines in the middle, pushed by Triscaro. It's 3 by 3 into turn 3 for the final time. Does anybody have anything for the top 3? Who makes the right move? Who gets the best push? Off turn 4 for the final time. 3 by 3 down to the tri-oval. Everybody's pushing for all they are worth. Through the tri-oval for the final time. This is going to be a photo finish. At the line, Matthew Baker wins again. Seven wins in Season 4. And now 1 in Season 5. I don't know how he continues to do this, but Matthew Baker conquers Talladega once again. In a classic of a finish. And I believe he might just be out of gas. He's getting some help from Richard Elliott, and I believe the 5 car's fuel tank is on empty. Wow. What a finish. For a split second, I thought that Landon Velicki had made the race-winning move. I thought that 3-wide move, when Maines and Baker kind of darted back and forth, when they were kind of trying to counter each other's moves, I thought it was an opening for Velicki, if nothing else, to be even with them off turn 4, and it was. In the tri-oval, though, he got turned, he got sideways, Garrett Maines got turned, and it was a melee from there, almost the entire field, as Baker does a miniature burnout, as that's about all the confirmation we need. The fuel tank has run out aboard the 5 machine. But let's go back, let's watch this last lap. This was outstanding. I mean, this was 110%. We're going to go all the way back. I want to see. So they move out 3 wide. Again, Veliky here, I thought this was the right move. I thought it was. Especially when Baker dropped to the bottom, headed for turn 1. I thought, okay, you got Matt Lee in line. He's one of the best pushers. And then halfway down the backstretch, I'm thinking, okay, if Garrett Maines gets clear and Veliky drops down to the middle, he's on track for his first win. Now the push comes in on the bottom, and Veliky has to stay on the nose of Matt Lee. And now just watch as chaos unfolds in the tri-oval. This is outstanding stuff. Contact all throughout the field. Triscaro's waving all over the place. Matt Lee's all over the place. And then in the tri-oval, oh, just an offset push. Got Veliky out of shape. And then now as he tries to correct, obviously Matt Lee, not much he can do to lift. He's getting pushed by Ethan Eckert. Maines gets into Baker, then gets collected by Veliky. And an absolute mad scramble all the way to the line. Look at all the coming. It's a complete melee of the entire field in behind Matthew Baker. And here is your margin of victory. Wow. I mean, it's about as close as it gets. See if we can find a decent view of the 5 car. And there it is, Matthew Baker, your winner at Talladega. His first win of season, number 5, and his 8th over the last 6 months. We'll go to the final results. We're going to hear from your top 3. Stay with us here on PGR eSports. Matthew Baker wins his first race here in Season 5. He is locked in to the playoffs here in Season 5 of Tuesday Night Thunder. Chris McCullough with a second-place finish by a 9/100ths of a second margin. And Landon Veliky comes 2 spots short of an incredible statement win. He finishes 3rd tonight. Michael Triscaro, great run for him to back up his Final Four effort. He finishes 4th. Richard Elliott, incredible run for the BAR driver. He finishes in 5th. Matt Lee finishes 6th tonight with Garrett Maines 7th. Dylan Jones 8th. Jared Haynes 9th. And Ethan Eckert rounds out the top 10. Evan Carlbon finishes 11th. Josh McCullough back in 12th. Kenny McCullough in 13th. Chase Mastretta in 14th. And Brock Westmoreland in 15th. Trevor Osronoff finishes tonight in 16th. Jonathan Herbert 17th. Joey Galati in 18th. Ryan Bissard 19th, Jimmy Emos in 20th, Jackson Holbrook back in 21st, Mark Vondell 22nd, Mitch Regatas in 23rd, Chris Carter 24th, Joe Huerta in 25th. J.R. Miller finishes 26th, Larry McDonald 27th, Justin Mills 28th, Jeff Merck 29th, and Garrett Caswell 30th. Mike Davenport finishes 31st, and Mark Math credited with the 32nd finishing position tonight. We're going to go get your top 3 for some interviews. Stay with us here on PGR eSports. We'll be right back to talk to your top 3 tonight from Talladega. Stay with us. Well, that was awfully quick tonight. Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. We now enter into the post-race interview in our post-race show. And the first man we'll talk to tonight, the man I thought made the race-winning move, the man who finishes in 3rd, and that is the 62 for One Stop Motorsports of Landon Veliky. Landon, it's Dawson in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you got to take me through this last lap. I thought you and Matt Lee had made the race-winning move. That scramble by Baker and Garrett on the bottom side, I thought for sure it opened up a window for you guys. It doesn't quite work out, but still an incredible finish for you tonight.
Yeah, we had it. I knew I had to side draft Garrett right there, just as hard as I could, just racing to the line, racing for the win, obviously. And I don't know what happened there. I felt like I got turned. I know Matt Lee isn't one to turn me, so I'm assuming he got driven through. Yeah, I hate that happened, but if, I'm just going for the win, I have to side draft that situation.
Oh, absolutely. Putting it all on the line. It's still a good run nonetheless. Again, 3rd place, very good start to the season. It's a statement for the rest of your season. It's a good points night. So, what does this do for your mindset? Obviously, you come into tonight, you just want to get a good finish. Obviously, you want to win, but ultimately, you want to run well. You did so tonight. You led a couple laps. You led there for a moment at the end. What does this do for your mindset going forward this season?
Well, it's a good confidence boost because I kind of came in the last season. I was late. I wasn't running for the championship or anything, and it feels like I got wrecked every single week. I had like one race I finished 3rd in, and that was it. But this is by far my favorite series. The racing is so good. It's clean aggression. It's fantastic, and I just wanted to be a part of it. Wanted to show off for OSM, obviously. I think we did pretty well. Jared was just outside the money because of that. We tried though.
Well, absolutely a great run for both One Stop Motorsports cars tonight, and third place finish for you. So before we let you go and celebrate it here for just a moment, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Oh yeah, OSM, Jared, David, BB, of course. Um, Everyone here. It's fun doing this every night, of course. Very fun to be a part of. Got to shout out my granddad too. He's going through some cancer stuff right now. Hopefully that ends up going well for him. Obviously praying for him. Hoping he'll pull through. Yeah, I guess that's about it.
Well, thanks so much for talking to me for a second. Congratulations on the third place finish tonight. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate, and we will talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you back, Dawson.
It's good to... I pull a bit of a technical issue there. Anyway, first race jitters for me apparently too, and it's good to be back. I know he said good to have you back. It's good to be back after taking a little bit of a, I won't call it a hiatus, but good to be back here for season number 5. We'll move now to the man who finished in the second position. And it is the 94 of Chris McCullough. He wrecked across to finish second, but hey, it counts nonetheless. And it's Chris McCullough finishing second tonight. Chris, it's Dawson in the booth. You get a copy.
What's up, Dawson? I got you.
Well, I can't imagine it's very fun to get turned about 5 feet before the line, but hey, it's pretty fun when you can finish in P2. A good run, really a consistent run for you tonight up front, a lot of the end portion of tonight's race. So take me through the last lap scramble and what you saw there getting turned about 100 feet before the start-finish line.
Yeah, I was really, really close on gas there. I think I actually ran out coming out of 2 after taking the checkered. But yeah, I was going to try to give it all I had to Baker and just try to finish as best I could. I didn't think I'd even have a chance to get second. Figured I'd be pinched on the bottom and racing for third or fourth. But it just worked out. I had a lot of fun tonight. This car was a little bit of the handle, which helps me use a little bit of a car to make passes, and it really helped me out. But we just got a little lucky there not to get taken out. And you got to have these. It's skill to get it here in the last 10 laps, and it's luck to finish.
Well, you happen to have both here tonight on the last lap of tonight's race. And look, it felt like last season, you know, you'd run well, you know, obviously got to victory lane, but then, you know, the luck sometimes wouldn't go your way. And you said it right there. You have to have luck to finish. Is this a turning point for your luck? Obviously, last season we kind of saw it take a dip, mainly towards the end of the season. Is this a change in luck for the 94 group?
Oh, we hope so. That's for sure. This McCullough Motorsports Chevy was fast, so hopefully we keep bringing good pieces to the track like this and get a little luck. We'll see how it goes. Right now, I should be doing pretty good in the points.
Absolutely a good points night for you as well after getting stage points back at the end of stage number 1. Well, before we let you go and celebrate, I obviously want to ask, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I got to thank my team, McCullough Motorsports. We had a pretty good night, all things considered. I got to thank you for putting this on. I really enjoy you in the booth. You do a great job. Really, all of our broadcast partners do such a great job. And I got to thank Ron for putting this on. This is the best league during the week. I look forward to these races. And all these drivers that make these races so good.
Well, completely agree. Chris, thanks for talking to me. Congratulations on the second place finish tonight. We will talk to you soon.
Thank you, sir. Maybe Thursday night.
We'll see. Thursday night, I believe, going to be Xfinity at Daytona. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But first, to the man that is getting all too familiar with Ron Morris Racing's Tuesday Night Thunder Victory Lane, and it's the driver for NBG Motorsports. It's again the 5 of Matthew Baker. Baker, it's Dawson in the booth. You get a copy.
Yeah, what's up, bud?
Well, you got to be getting used to this at this point. You had 7 wins a season ago. Now 1 for 1 again here in season 5. Off turn 2, I thought maybe Garrett, maybe Landon would have your number at the line. At the end of the day, though, somehow, some way, you're back in victory lane. Take me through that last sequence all the way to the checkered flag.
I knew I needed to stay up as long as I possibly can to stay behind someone in front of me, and that was Garrett, because I knew I was going to run out of fuel if I stayed in that top line. I had to get to the bottom. It felt like Daytona all over again, where Merck ran down on the top, and I powered through and sputtered 50 feet past the line on the bottom. So I'm glad Garrett came up in front of me. Unfortunate he got turned there. Just hard racing at the end there. Looks like a little bit of offset push between Ethan, Matt, and Landon. Landon comes down to side draft, which I think he wins the race if Matt and Ethan are able to stay lined up together. But yeah, just another another win by the skin of my teeth. I really, really didn't think we were going to make that green white checkered, and Mike was doing a great job controlling. Just glad he was able to take home fourth and getting the money there. So a ton of fun, especially with this new paint scheme. This PGR Intimidator Superspeedway Series paint scheme looks good with the black, silver, and gold.
Well, absolutely. And look, I hate to bring it up, but last season, again, 7 wins. But when the smoke cleared on the season, you came away without the championship. So how much motivation is there this season to get back into championship victory lane now that you've won race 1?
The last 2 seasons has been a second place. Last season wasn't as close, but the Navarro one was half a car width. So it hurts. It hurts finishing second. We got the win 3 seasons ago, but it just, to come out here and get another win against these guys, it's unbelievable. These guys are amazing. The racing was great up front. Unfortunate that it had to end that way. I think maybe Landon beats me there. If not, I'm getting it. Garrett kind of, when he got doored down into me, it kind of netcoded us and speed matched him. So I think I was going to hold on no matter what. But all credit goes out to Mike. He did a great job there. Merck blew his engine before the stage there, but I'm glad he was able to try and help us out towards the end and get us in the track position where we needed to be. It was a lot of fun, but it's another nice win to have under the belt and take on to the playoffs and already get locked in. That way I can just relax the rest of the year.
Oh, absolutely. Well, congratulations again on the victory. Before we let you go and celebrate, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I just want to thank PGR eSports, Coasting Thunder, Baker & Son Construction, MBG. Thanks to the teammates, Mike and Mark. Garrett was running green up there too. Lee, all those guys. Really wanted to see that come down to the end. Great push from Chris all the way around to the end. And thanks to the family watching back at home, Grandma and Mom. And I'm going to dedicate this win to my late uncle. We had the race for him a couple weeks ago, finished 4th, and I haven't been able to find victory lane since he passed away. So this is for him for sure. I think he siphoned a little bit of fuel from me from Garrett's tank down the backstretch to help me out. So thank you, Uncle Dan, and my grandpa above too. And thanks to you, buddy. Love you.
Well, absolutely. Well, appreciate you talking to me here for a second. Congratulations again on the victory tonight. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We will talk to you soon.
Thanks, bud.
Matthew Baker, your winner from Talladega Superspeedway in race 1 of season 5 of Tuesday Night Thunder. What a race. I said it at the beginning of the night. You've heard 3 different drivers now come in here and say it in their post-race interviews. This is the best weekly racing that we have. It is I won't say an exclusive field. Obviously, anybody that wants to race here can race, but it's a little bit more exclusive in the fact that we don't have 60-car fields. It's 30, it's 25, but it's the best of the best. Go down the list of names. It's the best at what we do week in, week out, night in, night out, and that's why it provides such incredible racing. We were about 50 feet short of probably this series' best ever finish of 3 wide, about 6 rows deep. It was not meant to be, but even that last lap, a testament to this series, absolutely incredible. I'm so glad to be back and be a part of it. I'm so glad I could bring you along for the ride as well. We're in for a roller coaster of a season. Please stick around. We have 11 more regular season races than the playoffs after that. Stick around. You will not be disappointed by the product here on Tuesday nights. Coming up on Thursday night, I believe it is going to be the Xfinity Series cars at Daytona. I believe a driver vote was taken this week for this week's race, so that will be the event on Thursday night here on PGR eSports. Should be Austin Green back on the call for you on Thursday. We'll see about that. Coming up later in the week, we should have some McCullough Motorsports money racing either on Friday or on Saturday. We'll wait and see on that as the schedules continue to evolve throughout the week. And then next Monday night, the return of the Dega Pros Little Guys Series, also here on PGR eSports. They had another heck of a race last night. They've had back-to-back really good ones over there in the Little Guys Series, so check that out as well. And then we return next Tuesday night here for Tuesday Night Thunder, right here on PGR eSports for race 2 of season number 5. That's going to just about do it here for me, Dawson Wise, on PGR eSports. Thank you all so much for watching and being active, utilizing the chat. Again, thank you for kind of interacting with this race, interacting with the drivers. They love to go back and look at that. It really makes for a fun environment here for us to watch, for all of us to catch it as race fans. Again, thank you so much for letting us come back, letting me come back, be on the microphone for Season 5. I look forward to many more Tuesdays with you all going forward into the next several months. Again, I'm Dawson Wise. You've been watching PGR eSports, and until next time,